Hello, boys and girls. You are now listening, if you're on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Podbean, and any other RSS feed medium you can possibly find us on that I'm totally unaware with, and watching, if you're on YouTube, a very sickly version of a Peter special. And yeah, because I'm a little under the weather right now. This sucks, but the reviews must come, and let's do this shit. But this is Peter's, how would I say this? ROH Final Battle 2015 review. I think that sounds about right. Just like NXT and just like New Japan, ROH is another brand that I check out. And if you've gone through, if you've been on this page before, I've done actual ROH pay-per-view reviews. The last one I did was the All-Star Extravaganza. And this one, I figure I'd do one on this. Check out my couple of videos back. Check out my NXT TakeOver London review as well. But these aren't going to be just regular podcasts. These are, I don't have to do them. My wheelhouse is mostly WWE, but I do watch those. I do watch the other products. I don't review them as much because I have fun watching them. And I don't want them to be as much of a job watching NXT, watching ROH, watching New Japan. I don't want them to be as much of a job watching and reviewing as, say, I do the WWE product. I don't necessarily enjoy the product now, but I enjoy doing the podcast and talking about wrestling, and I would much rather that be with the WWE. Even if I love the product, I'm just saying, I only have but so much time, only but one man, but at the same time, I enjoy without the pressure of having to do a review of the other brands. And again, Lucha Underground should be back in a couple of days, maybe 4 weeks or so. So I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I told you guys that I would be back around what it would be, Peter's Raw recap, and that Raw is I'm recording this now at 5:45, and you're still gonna get a Raw recap. I should have done this yesterday, man, but I was sick as a dog. But you're going to get it now. Hopefully you'll check it out within the week. But here we go with my ROH Final Battle review. And Final Battle is in Philadelphia, the same city who just sung the praises and loved some Roman Reigns. So I'd imagine the same people that are in that crowd were at that show where Roman Reigns won the championship this week, or last Monday. And, those same people that are screaming, "This is wrestling, this is wrestling," was probably screaming and yelling and kicking and screaming and so happy that Roman Reigns won the belt. Not to call you out, but it's just a weird thing. Well, anyway, it starts off with a triple threat tag team match for the number one contendership. And you got the Young Bucks, who just signed a very lucrative contract. Everyone's like, oh, dude, they just signed a contract. Calm down, it's fine. And even on the commentary, they're putting over the contract signing as if these some bitches in the NFL or something. Like they just got a Alex A-Rod, contract or something. They got a contract. We don't know how much it is. We just know that they have a lot of freedom to be able to bounce around New Japan and PWG and ROH. For the most part, it's pretty good. But they're fucking super over. They're super over. The crowd, you could tell they were the crowd favorite. You get the Briscoes, who are I'm rooting for the Briscoes in this, by the way. I love the Briscoes. I think they've held that belt maybe 4 or 5 times. And then you have the All Night Express. They returned on All-Star Extravaganza, Kenny King, and the Romantic Touch. I'm just going to call him the Romantic Touch. He will always be the Romantic Touch to me. But, man, they're fighting for the number one contendership for the ROH World Tag Team belts, and dude, All Night Express are the odd men out. I mean, like, completely. Like, nobody wants them in this match. And I don't know whether it's just a matter of the fact that they would rather see just the Briscoes versus the Briscoes versus the Bucks, or what? Or maybe the whole story with the whole Kenny King leaving and the people that won't take the other guy, Rhett, too seriously because he was a romantic touch. But man, they got it. They definitely got the treatment, like the boo, get the fuck out of here, the X-Pac heat sort of treatment. Nobody wanted him there. But what is it? But with the one night stand, the fucking All Night Express wins that motherfucker. And it's like, it reminded me of TakeOver London, right? Where the Dash and Dawson took out Kaz and Enzo, and how the energy just left the room. You had this opportunity to really start off the night with a bang and get the crowd favorite, the belts or the win or what have you, and they didn't get it. And not only with that, it's like not only did they not put the belt on Kaz and Enzo, say for this particular situation, this was the number one contendership, triple threat. They lost it to a team that no one even wanted in the building. So they are now the number one. Who apparently the storyline is that when Kenny King left and Rhett became the romantic touch, that they had never really given up the belt. So I mean, Kenny King is an amazing wrestler, but this situation here is an interesting one, and it seems that ROH and Nigel McGuinness, they want to somehow finagle those guys back into a situation where they were champions again, and I'm thinking that time is past. Not saying that the Young Bucks are in a situation where they can hold the belts because they're bouncing around every fucking where. But I think this was more of a moment for the crowd and not necessarily whatever plans. I mean, you can always get up off that belt, always, but you can never really get that kind of energy. You never get that energy. And moving forward, I just don't see All Night Express, no one being excited that they are in the final, or even the match itself is going to be supremely lackluster. Say whenever that tag team championship is going to be up, because moving forward we find out Dalton Castle versus Silas Young, and I would say probably the most emotional of the matches. If anyone's been keeping up, Dalton Castle, couple of months ago, lost his boys to Silas Young, and Silas Young has been basically turning them into men. Like, that's what's been happening. He's putting them in situations where they're getting their ass kicked, where they got to do hard labor, where they've been shields or pawns for him to man them up. The storyline itself is that the boys have actually gotten a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, where they're actually fending and falling for Silas Young, who is their captor. And Dalton Castle has been an emotional wreck because of it. He loves his boys. And this match in itself is, I don't know if this is a match for the boys back. I don't know the stipulation really, honestly. Like, it didn't make it clear that if this match was to reclaim the boys or not. It got weird, but nevertheless, yeah, it is. I guess it is a battle for the boys. I guess it was the battle for the boys. Again, what is it? I think, yeah, the match ends with, what the hell? Yeah, it ends actually with Silas Young defeating Dalton Castle. because there's a moment where the boys are in the ring and he shoves one of the boys in Dalton Castle's face, and Dalton Castle strikes one of the boys. And that was like a distraction. He was so distraught that he had to strike one of his boys that Silas Young was able to get him in misery and get the victory. 1, 2, 3, clean. And then, rather than just sort of like packing up and heading out, he wants Dalton Castle to admit that he's the man, that he's a real man. And come to find out, the boys were, I don't know, is a ruse. Dude, I don't really understand the end of this. If he doesn't admit that he's a real, that if Dalton Castle doesn't admit that Silas Young is the real man, that the boys are going to beat the shit out of him with chairs. So he gives the boys chairs, and Dalton Castle admits sort of facetiously that he's a man, but he's a foolish man, and that the boys then turn on Silas Young, start beating him with chairs, and the boys and Dalton Castle stand victoriously in the ring. And I don't understand it. Seriously, if you're watching or listening to this, please tell me how this all makes sense, because I don't think the boys are in Castle's realm yet. Like, he hasn't won them back. He's won twice. And every time it seemed that the boys were going to get a little froggy on Silas Young and expect him to leave, they have to oblige. Now, I don't know. And then even in this match, again, maybe it was for the boys or not, but Silas Young won. So I guess moving forward, Silas Young is going to try to get his boys back, because those are his boys, until Dalton Castle defeats him. And then it's just like that weird, like, we're stupid. We're so stupid. It was a trap the entire time. Don't give us that. I mean, I think in wrestling, that's a really lame excuse of a finish, that like, oh yeah, we weren't in on it. Like, yeah, we were actually like it was a plan all along to turn on Silas Young, and it's like, no, dude, I'm sorry, this ain't Dallas. It wasn't just a dream. This ain't like this ain't Super Mario 2 where we go through all this bullshit only to find out that it's a dream. That we all find out that you were in on the plan the whole time. Like, that is a lame way of writing stuff. So the match itself was fantastic. Fantastic. But the payoff, I think, was very much off. Very off. So they got to like tie up some loose ends and see what the fuck. And I hope I'm not the only one that thinks this. If you feel differently or have the same feeling or can explain to me clearly what the fuck's going on in this situation, please hit me up, PJTW Central, or leave a comment on either medium, whether it's iTunes, whether it's Stitcher, whether it's SoundCloud, YouTube. Like, please just leave a comment and explain this wacky shit to me. Next up, we got the number one contendership for the ROH World Heavyweight Championship. We got Michael Elgin, Unbreakable Michael Elgin, a remade Michael Elgin. Since he came back from Canada, he couldn't get his visa back here in the United States, and he's been in Canada for a while. He came back with a new. He came back and he just couldn't get over. And I think he just had a change in gimmick or whatever. He's still like a big bad motherfucker, but like, he needed something else to get over because the crowd couldn't stand his ass. He grew out his beard. He went over to New Japan, did some damage over there, and he's back with new vigor. And it's interesting to see. All it takes just a tweak of someone's gimmick to sort of make the people connect. And he's going against Moose. And granted, Moose is still, I wouldn't call him green. I think he's probably, if there was an award for fastest learner, he definitely wins it. Because just over a year and a half ago, he debuted. And now he's kicking ass and taking names. He's mad over. He's super athletic. Go back and check out his matches against Cedric Alexander. I mean, that guy, and Cedric is a fucking beast. And Moose was able to keep up. So it's definitely worth checking out. This match in itself, though, it told two stories. You had the strength and athleticism of Moose versus the you had the brute strength and the experience of Michael Elgin, a guy who's been in it for quite some time. I mean, you look at the two, it's like, yeah, Moose will beat his ass, but he's still green, almost to the effect of I definitely wouldn't compare Baron Corbin, because Baron Corbin is just as green. But I'm saying having Uhaa Nation or say Apollo Crews going down in flames against Baron Corbin. Corbin has been there for 5 years. Again, I'm not making a comparison, so don't get it twisted. I'm just saying, when you take someone in a situation like Apollo Crews, he can lose. He's still young. He still has his time. And it could be that there of a lack of experience. The same with Moose. He's still young in this game. He's still mega young. And again, he's already made up a lot of space between when he first just debuted. It wasn't even really like a debut, like an in-ring debut. He just kind of showed up as like, hey, I'm Moose, I'm here to wrestle kind of thing. And the leaps and bounds he went through over the past year and a half is pretty amazing. But he still has a long way to go, especially to a guy who's an ex-ROH world champion, an ex-world champion in Michael Elgin. And this was kind of a short match, honestly. Like, it was something that was just like, all right, these two big fucking brutes, who's going to pull this out? And it turns out that the guy with the experience and not the most athleticism came out of this, and he won with the burning hammer. And then at the end of the match, there was a show of respect, because it's not like those guys hated each other. They just was like, it's just kind of one-upsmanship. And that's how this match was to a certain degree, one-upsmanship. Who's stronger, who's more agile, who's smarter, and Elgin won that battle. And that's how that ends. So he was already booked to face fucking draw a blank on his name, Jay Lethal in New Japan for the belt. Like, they already have the match booked in New Japan. So this was like, they were trying to play off like, well, this could happen, that could happen. And Michael Elgin, oh yeah, like, he's facing him anyway. I was just like, get off of that. Get off that crap. He's going to face him for the belt. And this is where New Japan and this is where ROH, if y'all going to go into a buddy-buddy system, y'all need to like tie up those loose ends and make shit like that straight. Because if there's already a booking in place for a certain event, make sure that shit does not get out. Make sure that the specific way to explain what's going on is out, because I feel like they were trying to justify what was happening in the ring and the outcome to, oh yeah, okay, it's still in place. They're still going to face Jay Lethal and Michael Elgin for the belt. But Jay Lethal has a match too. He has a match against AJ fucking Styles. He's not facing like some jabroni. He's facing AJ Styles. So, like, there's a chance he could lose to AJ Styles, but you already have this booking, and they're trying to be like, oh, belt or without a belt. No, it's not with a belt or without a belt. Everyone's been clamoring over the fact that Jay Lethal is going to defend his World Heavyweight Championship for the first time in New Japan. And that's it. So, again, it's not like you guys get like, what's the word? Y'all get some leeway because you're an indie. No, y'all guys are grown fucking men. Y'all been booking shit for a very long time. But for the fact that New Japan and ROH is working so much more together, that you would think y'all would kind of be on the same page when it comes to things. And definitely, like, this match itself, we're all waiting for Elgin to win. How he's going to win, and then like how does Moose hold up? But we already know in stone that he's facing Jay Lethal for the belt. So you kind of like destroyed not only your number one contendership match, but you also destroyed your heavyweight championship match for this. Like, why buy this? I don't know the numbers and such for this, but like if someone follows ROH, they definitely follow New Japan, and that was probably took a lot out of why they would watch to see who would actually come out the victor, because they already have the fucking match booked in Japan between Michael Elgin and Jay Lethal for that ROH belt. Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, and if anybody's been keeping up with this, this is based off of the betrayal of Kyle O'Reilly, by Adam Cole, who's basically just jealous. He's a jealous, snarving piece of shit. He's been on the shelf with a shoulder injury. Kyle O'Reilly's been doing his damn thing and getting all the accolades, winning the PWG heavyweight title, doing well in New Japan, and him being chosen, almost kind of becoming the chosen one. You think Adam Cole's showing up to sort of help him out and all this stuff, but he fucking stabs him in the back. It came to light during his battle, Kyle O'Reilly's battle with Jay Lethal for the World Heavyweight Championship at All-Star Extravaganza. He turns on him. Jay Lethal retains. But that's it. I mean, that's it. It's just a grudge, and this is the grudge match. The only thing in this storyline in this match is that it's not as much heated within the match as it should be. You could see that they're trying to get some emotion. It's not much of a. Okay, he cost him the match. He cost him the belt, but I still think that wasn't a sense of hatred in this match. And the only thing they really go after is like, okay, Cole works his leg, because after a missile drop kick, Kyle O'Reilly starts to favor the left leg, and it's a hard fought match. But again, it lacked a lot of emotion that I thought it would, and I would imagine that it would have been more the case of Kyle O'Reilly being so fucking pissed off that his one shot at the belt, his best shot at a guy who actually wrestled twice in one evening, came crushing down by a guy who's just jealous. So I think they dropped the ball on that one. Good match, nevertheless. We got Alex Shelley, ACH, and Matt Sydal versus The Addiction and Chris Sabin. Now, the storyline here is that The Addiction is pissed off at Alex Shelley for costing them the belt, because before when Chris Sabin showed up, KRD, he showed up in the red mask and it revealed as Chris Sabin, and that's how they got the tag team belts. And then in All-Star Extravaganza, a guy shows up in the red mask. Everyone thinks it's Chris Sabin, and it's not Chris Sabin. It's somebody. He interferes, costs The Addiction their titles. Come to find out, it's Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley from the what they call the Time Travelers with the Kushida, the Time Hoppers, Time Travelers, whatever. They're in New Japan, right? So he's back in ROH. He's here to kick ass, take names. So I guess this is kind of like a revenge match: Sabin and Addiction versus Alex Shelley, ACH, and Matt Sydal, who's just finished a 5-match sort of best of 5 match sequence where ACH won, and I guess they become chum and decided to side up with Alex Shelley against these guys. Whatever. Got Prince Nana on commentary. This is not a good match. I would say it wasn't the most fluid match. They were trying to do some things that fell flat. There was no rhythm. I don't know what the deal was here. I seriously don't know what the deal was, but there were their share of not necessarily botches, but things just wasn't running smooth enough for this match to really set into whoever was watching it. But the baby faces win, which is Alex Shelley, ACH, and Matt Sydal. They win with the Midnight Star into the Shooting Star Press for the victory. Not one of their best moments, I guarantee you that. Bobby Fish versus Roderick Strong, which I think is like the sleeper match of the evening. Very much the sleeper match. They came in. I bet they were looking at the landscape of how the night was working out so much. I mean, the best match so far was basically a gimmick match between Dalton Castle and Silas Young. So they had to go out there and really make up some ground. Super technical match. Super duper technical match. Now, if you remember, Bobby Fish had his opportunity at the TV title, World TV title, against Jay Lethal. And he lost. He lost clean. He lost fair and square. If I can remember correctly. Yeah, he won pretty... Jay Lethal won pretty clean. And I guess... And then Roger Strong won. And I guess this is just a matter of, like, who's better, you know? You beat the guy I couldn't beat. But I could beat you because I beat you, like, a couple of years back. So that's what that was. And it was a super technical match, man. I mean, it had you on pins and needles, not a lot of whoop-de-doos, not a flips and all that shit. Just ground and pound wrestling. Ground strikes, holds, fucking just galore. I mean, if you like technical wrestling, then this is the match for you. Fish goes for submissions early, but what's ended up happening is that Roderick Strong, he kind of dictates the pace of this match. But there's a spot, right, at the very end where Bobby Fish gets Roger Strong is like a third attempt and like a leg lock, like a leg sort of like a lock and shit, right? He's twisting the fuck out of his leg. And Roger Strong actually taps. But he's tapping in a way that the ref can't see it. I mean, let's just say a la Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, where he taps the fucking ref is in a position where he can't see it. He starts tapping up under. Now Bobby Fish knows that he's tapped, so he lets go of the lock. And he starts to celebrate. But the bell has it wrong. The ref doesn't understand why he's got up off the hold. And then he catches the strong knee to the face. 1, 2, 3 victory. You get people going, you tapped out the Roderick Strong. He walks out, I don't give a fuck. I got the belt. Peace. And it's not over between those two. Great match. Again, I think they took a little page out of the WWE. Again, a la Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker. Bobby Fish being Brock Lesnar and Roger Strong being the Undertaker. The referee, whoever the fuck that jabroni was, he missed it. He completely missed it. But yeah, the thing about this isn't over. I can watch these guys wrestle for ages. Then we get a promo with Vita Scott and Cedric Alexander. Apparently there's a situation with them where they pressed charges and won those charges. I don't know. The legalities, apparently they lawyered up for better work conditions and this, that, and the other. And they came out basically to say that you're going to see a lot of Roderick Strong and Vita Scott in 2016. And I hope to see a lot of Vita Scott. I love that redhead. And Cedric Alexander, he's a homeboy from Greensboro or from the GSO. I love him. I want to see more of him. I would only hope that this last feud that he had with Moose is out of the way. I mean, apparently it's out of the way, but he can actually move into like the bigger title spots, maybe for the TV championship and so on and so forth. Maybe a possible world championship shot against Jay Lethal. Definitely a match I would love to see. War Machine versus The Kingdom, and probably the most lackluster match on this card. Very lackluster. The only thing that really was worth a damn in this match was the opening, and it was basically what The Kingdom did to Red Dragon. Spike powerbomb on the outside to, I think that's to Rowan, to Row. That's his name, to Row, not Rowan, but Row. And It got all no-selled. It got no-sold. That's what is it? That's actually when Adam Cole came to basically save. They came to the aid of what's his name, of Kyle O'Reilly, because that same very move, just the viciousness. They beat the shit out of the fucking Red Dragon and just shit's all fucked up. Well, they pulled this shit on War Machine. War Machine no sold it, and basically when the match started, it didn't seem like anyone was in there worth a damn. I don't know. Maybe someone's hurt. Maybe something's this, but this match lasted maybe 6 minutes after the beatdown, and then it ended just lackluster. I mean, they went with the fallout on Bennett, and that was it. I'm not sure how long the Kingdom actually held those belts, but not long at all. You would think there would be more of a fight to keep them. I mean, it's funny because ROH is like, I really enjoy ROH. But man, they dropped the ball. They're dropping the ball on this pay-per-view. Like, everything's weird, nothing's, and this I don't know what the fuck this was. This was weird. This was very strange. So to get the fucking the story out the way, like, I had actually hit up Headliner 5, aka Nathan Newman, from the New Day podcast, normally on Mondays. He actually hit me up to see if I wanted to do it today, but I don't think I would have been able to deal with that stuff today. I wanted to do this and then move forward. You'll see us in January. But I had to ask him about Steve Corino. Now, apparently there's a storyline where he's been fired. And in his place, there's a guy in a mask that sounds like Steve Corino, kind of reminds you of Steve Corino, but he's wearing a mask and he goes by Mr. Rustling 3. Mr. Rustling 3. And basically that's been the storyline. I think it took away from the actual pay-per-view itself. It took away from the wrestling that's going on, because people are tweeting and doing this, and they're bringing it up that, man, you remind me of Steve Corino. You remind me of Steve Corino. You remind me of Steve Corino. Whatever, dude. Well, anyway, he did, because the main event was going to be with Nigel McGuinness and what the hell is his name? It eludes Kelly. Yeah, that's it. Sorry. Kelly is doing it. It's Corina and Kelly, and then he leaves, and then Nigel McGuinness shows up. But before Nigel McGuinness shows up, fucking BJ Whitmer shows up, and he gets his ass thrown out. So that little thing in itself, and I don't know whether that was the reason why the War Machine Kingdom was fucking lackluster, because they had to save up room for this segment to sort of get the rub to Nigel McGuinness, to get heel heat on BJ Whitmer. Because that in itself was at least 5 minutes, 6 minutes. They could have at least done this in 2 minutes and gave War Machine and the Kingdom maybe, again, like another 4 minutes to really make this match worth a goddamn. It was a lackluster tag team change. Well, anyway, we also get Jerry Lynn, legendary Jerry Lynn, who's actually been, I guess, on top of this feud between AJ Styles and Jay Lethal, which is the main event. AJ Styles is coming in like, yo, respect, dog. I want the belt. Lethal's like, fuck you. I'm the best wrestler ever. Fuck you. He's been evil for a while. Evil Jay Lethal, right? The House of Truth, just a dirt bag, and he's a proud champion. And Jerry Lynn is just like, oh, man, I've known you forever. I guess he trained under him, what have you. I've known your parents and all this shit. You're a scumbag. You're a piece of shit. You think you're all that, but you're not. You're just an arrogant fuck. So Jerry Lynn is out there on commentary. And this match in itself was very much like Moose. Not so much like Moose, but to the same degree of Moose versus Elgin. It was a one-upsmanship. Like who's better at this, who's better at this, and it's like super technical. They're going at it, reverse, swing, duck, swing, reverse, swing, lock, break out, reverse. Just good technical, clean wrestling. And this match itself is really good. Again, like it's just Lethal knows how to tell a story. AJ Styles knows how to fucking tell a story. I would definitely say this match wasn't as good as versus Jay Briscoe, but it was damn good. And it made for a solid main event for a very, very lackluster pay-per-view in this final battle. It ends with Lethal hitting two injections, lethal injections. One was basically a stunner off the second buckle, right? He hits, so it wasn't a super lethal it was an injection, but it wasn't a lethal injection. So he hits one lethal injection, and then we get an outside table spot where he's on. I think Jay Lethal is not Jay Lethal. AJ Styles is on the buckle, and he just kind of pushes him off. He lands through the table. He beats the 20 count. Again, ROH in New Japan, they do 20 count, not 10. And then Jay Lethal pulls out the Cradle Pile Driver, which is a Jerry Lynn finisher. And he hits that shit, and then he goes for another lethal injection, takes out AJ Styles, 1-2-3 victory, which was a third injection, second lethal injection, but third injection. And he walks over and he fucking points at Jerry Lynn like, take that, you son of a bitch. And then they celebrate while AJ Styles is laid out. He actually reaches down and shakes his hand while AJ Styles is selling the beatdown or what have you. But Jay Lethal, he retains the belt. So he moves on to, I think this is Wrestle Kingdom, where he's going to defend the belt against Michael Elgin. And again, they already set the fucking match. So it took away from, I would say, any kind of maybe a swerve or maybe expectation of a title change, because it wasn't going to happen. Michael Elgin was going to be the number one contender going in, and he was going to face fucking Jay Lethal. I mean, that's what the contract is. So that took away. That itself took away. Man, if I would have to give this pay-per-view out of 5, I'm giving this a 2. There's a lot of things that just didn't work. I mean, this is independent wrestling. You got people screaming and yelling, this is wrestling, and I dig it. And I'm not saying it's not wrestling, but it was this itself. And I'm watching thinking like, my God, this is actually pretty bad. And I'm not making a comparison to WWE. All right? So if anyone's thinking I'm about to make a comparison to WWE, I'm not. WWE in itself is bad in itself. ROH isn't like, what's the word? What I want to say? You know, when it comes down to the independents, you know, you got people who want to sit down and praise, and even it's in the NXT, everything's great in the independents. Whether it's PWG, whether it's New Japan, whether it's Ring of Honor. Oh yeah, or fucking Evolve and all that crap. You know, I like it because it's another way to look at wrestling, but it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. It's indies because they handle in a way that isn't, quote unquote, the most professional sense. They don't have the budget to take care and tie up loose ends. The merit is the athletic ability and the wrestling skill that the guys have. So they can fall subject to bad writing. They can. They totally can. Just like any other wrestling promotion. They can fall victim to bad writing, poor payoffs, and off nights. Now, because this was a pay-per-view, all hands on deck. All hands on deck. Every piece of hand that you have that can be on deck, you want them to come through on this. But not all hands were on deck, both behind the scenes and in the ring. Like that fucking Kingdom versus War Machine, it shouldn't have ever been on the card. Honestly, it should have never happened. The turn on the boys Silas Young with no real reason. I mean, we know the reason, but wait a minute. How does this happen? And it's all good. It's not all good. He still owns the boys. What I'm thinking, he got the clean victory. So where's the rub? What's up with this rub towards the boys going back to Dalton Castle with no retribution? Like, I don't get it. It's confusing. You don't want to confuse people. You got All Night Express winning, beating both the two top tag teams in that fucking promotion, the Young Bucks and the Briscoes. Dude, they're booing. They're booing both Rhett and King the entire match. And fucking Kelly is going, I don't know why they feel this way. Because in his head, he knows what's up. We're about to give these guys the #1 contendership. Like, holy shit, did we fuck up? Oh, man. So, again, I'd give this a 2 out of 5. Maybe going into like the next ROH, I think it's the anniversary. Maybe, just maybe, they're tighten up some shit. We'll see what happens with the New Japan. See if Michael Elgin actually beats Jay Lethal. I fucking sure hope not. And we see moving forward what's going on with this promotion. Again, I enjoy watching it. I watch it when I can, but I try to catch the pay-per-views and review them for you guys because, I enjoy this product. And as much as I love wrestling, and I've catered to the WWE, I do have my feelings and I do have my opinions on those other individual pay-per-views, whether it's NXT, pay-per-views in their respectable promotion, whether it's NXT, whether it's ROH, whether it's New Japan, whether it's PWG. I've yet to do a PWG review because that's some old other, like, the way they put that shit out is some old other stuff. I don't really have the patience to go look for that stuff. But if there's one coming up soon, and if you want my opinions on that and somewhat insight, because I know a little bit about it, it's not hard to keep up. But just let me know if you want me to watch and review it. Let me know. I'll do it. I mean, again, it's not something I would go out looking for and to review, but I do watch it, and I would have an opinion. So hit the subscription button below. And if you're on iTunes, if you're on Stitcher, if you're on SoundCloud, if you're on Podbean, make sure you put me in your favorites list. Again, I just got the Podbean. Pretty expensive to get up. So if you do use Podbean, listen on Podbean. That'd be awesome. And, Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. Again, that's Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling Central. My Twitter is PJTW Central. Again, that's PJTW Central. You can hit me up. And subscribe, like, comment, and most importantly, share. Always share. Again, this is a labor of love. Again, I don't make any cash. I'm not saying that I'm like some sort of crazy professional. I'm not any of those things. I'm just a guy who watches wrestling and likes to talk about it. Likes to give my analysts, can't even talk, what I see, my analytics, what the fuck, I can't speak, my opinions on the product of wrestling. So analysis, that's it. The analysis. I like to give my analysis on the world of professional wrestling and for what I can understand. So again, subscribe, comment, like, share. And it's Monday night. Enjoy Raw. Enjoy Monday Night Football. And until you'll see me later on for Peter's Raw recap. And until then, watch out for those foreign objects.